Hello, hi, thank you for tuning into my channel. This whole initiative is just to help out international students like you, me, who are suffering through job hunting and wealth creation and life in general. So, hope you drive value out of this video, and if you do, do share it with a friend. Also, check out my Instagram page where I post very valuable informational content. So, I do recommend you check out that page. Now, enjoy the video. What do you look for? I mean, how do you shortlist resumes? What candidate do you look for, and how does it work now? Has something changed? Because the market has only gotten tougher with the new laws and with the competition increasing as well.
So I would certainly equate this to be a mixed bag for me as an immigrant who has gone through the same journey. Like
Okay.
now, a person who was on the other side of the fence interviewing a lot of people. One thing I genuinely look at resumes that I remember, like my team looked at my resume, is the authenticity of that resume. So let's say I want the candidate, or we expect the hiring teams expect the candidate to be well versed with whatever they're written in their resumes. So being prepared, being concise, and maybe you would be a better judge in terms of understanding this as well because you've gone through the same grind, that having the star method in place of
Yeah.
understanding and interviewing, that because that kind of makes the interview lively and it doesn't sound
Hmm.
monotonous. And
Yeah.
one thing I genuinely do in terms of technical screening is I would not rate someone who is an exceptionally well coder. I want to understand their mindset. So, being a very good data analyst or a data scientist or a machine learning engineer, the one thing that sits at the as the baseline is your problem solving ability. But you're trying to understand the problem and how do you break it. I
Yeah.
know, I mean, with the advent of technology, I mean, I know for a fact that we have different like Stack Overflow, GitHub to help you aid with your coding. And code can
Yeah.
be refined, optimized, type complexity, say space complexity can be increased or decreased according to what the team's requirement is. But my understanding is the problem solving ability will always be there. So
True.
if that clicks and
Hmm.
get a person who thinks like the team, not like me, but how
Yeah.
the team envisions, and I happened to interview intern, which you remember, joined our team in the same position as me. I had like interviewed at that time. Me and my manager had interviewed that 25, 30 applications, and we were like missing that freshness and stuff like that. And this person comes in and it was an amazing interview because the guy knew A to Z whatever I was asking him. And it is not about we asked him coding question. We did ask him about machine learning, hyperparameter tuning, and generative AI concepts. But the clarity of thought is what led him to an internship with us. And that is something that I got the feedback from my director and my managers, that it
Yeah.
was not about the technical expertise you were bringing on the table, because obviously people they evolve, they're like 7 10 years. I mean, sometimes your age is equivalent to their work experience, you cannot compete with
Yeah.
them. But the
Yeah.
clarity of thought and their willingness to learn is what
Yeah.
I would say converted things for me.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree to it. One of my mentors told me, and this was even before coming to US, that in an intern you look for willingness to learn, willingness to accept feedback, and then implementing it for the betterment of the team. So that's number one. Number two is, they should have a knack of problem solving, which is peeling a problem like peeling an onion, layer by layer, and solving it collectively with the team. And having the knowledge of technology to peel that onion is what makes a great candidate, in my opinion. I've not taken any interviews, but um, you know that's what corroborates what you said as well. So yeah, it brings us to the last segment of our brilliant conversation, which is as international students coming from India or any other country. Uh, Usually, it's the case where people take education loans. So, did you take an education loan, and how are you managing your finances now? Now that you're in a tech role, you're earning a decent salary, and what are your priorities in life in terms of finances right now?
Well, I would say that yes, I took an education loan, and coming to an Ivy League college, the brand is
It's
it,
expensive.
it's very expensive, and I would certainly believe you would have
So
experienced that
what
same.
was your loan amount?
So my total cost of attendance went up till about. So I had taken loan for my living expense as well, and my
Okay,
total amount came out to be around 125, 130K. That was the total.
130K.
Yeah. So that the bifurcation was about 106K of tuition, and then about 20, 25
Yeah,
on tops of
2025.
a living expense, and that to living in Manhattan is quite expensive.
Manhattan. Yeah.
So yeah, that its total amount was 130K, and then when I came to the beautiful city of Raleigh, I had to like buy a car as well. That attracted a lot of things, and the interest that I accumulated. So yeah, I was heavily in debt, but
Hmm.
now seeing forward, I am kind of managing my debt pretty well.
Okay.
I kind of have knocked about 30-40% of the entire loan amount that I
So,
had.
so, let's get it clear for the audience. You have upwards of 100K of loan in principal amount, let's say 120K. And, obviously, when you were job hunting, you couldn't pay off that loan. And you came to Raleigh and you took another loan for a car because obviously, how will you commute here? It's
Yes.
not like New York where you have a subway. And then, so which loan did you knock off first? Obviously, I know your education loan is still there. So did you prioritize knocking off your car loan first and then also providing some money to the education loan? What did it look like when you had two loans, on your head?
So I'll just give you a lump sum of how I dealt with it and like what changed in a bit of a year. So at that time, my total debt was hovering around 185, 190, and that was
Total, like car plus education,
yes. So because that education loan, which I told about 120,
interest accrued.
is its principal,
Yeah,
and since I came on a non-collateral loan, the interest rates are off the roof, like
off the
10.7 or
roof. Yeah,
yeah, 11%. So that kind of accumulated, and then the car loan, because I didn't have a good credit history in the US, that came out to be around 8%. So
okay.
at that point of time, it was hovering around 185 something. So what I
Hmm.
did was that I know for a fact that I would not get brownie points, and not in my wildest dream I can knock off my student loan in about a year. So
Yep.
I kind of prioritize knocking off the car loan first, because
Hmm.
there are two things if you buy a car in the US and if you're not living in a city like New York or maybe Chicago that is well connected. The one thing which I kind of understood was the fact that if I knock off my car loan, I still
Hmm.
have that maybe as a depreciating asset, but I still have some asset in place. Second
Yeah,
thing is, people don't understand that your insurance value with the car goes down heavily
yeah,
if you own the car rather than finance it. So that
yeah.
was one thing that I calculated. The third thing which I calculated was about uh, if I was able to knock off the 25K, 26 grand already,
Hmm.
I would sleep better.
Yeah,
That would be like around something off my chest. Not
yeah,
everything, but something off my chest. And
yeah.
then, so my focus was first aggressively knocking off my car loan. I knocked it
Car
off in
loan.
about
So to knock off your car loan, you knocked off in how many months?
4 months.
4 months. So to knock off your car loan in 4 months, what was your split of your paycheck? How much did you dedicate of your, let's say if you have $100, how many dollars were going into
So
your
my
car loan?
car, so the thing is like my after taxes and all the EMIs associated with the loan, because my loan repayment started and everything else, even the car repayment, I was doing that judiciously. So knocking that off, I was left with $75, and out of which I used
Hmm.
to make it a discipline of paying $40 to my car, so that
Hmm.
I calculated that even the interest, even if it gets accumulated for 8.2%, I would be able to knock it off for 4 months. So
So to ease it for the audience, 40% of your paycheck went into your car's payment,
yes,
and 25% of your paycheck also went into your education loans payment, like the
yes,
automatic EMI payment,
yes,
whatever it was.
yes, yes,
So essentially, 65% of your income was going into payments,
yes,
which wasn't being used by you. So you were literally surviving on 35% of your
income,
monthly income,
yes,
in which fixed costs have still not been reduced, which is like rent, utilities, groceries, like the things that are bare minimum for you to survive, not live. So so that means it's possible to survive in 35% of your
For sure, because if you
monthly?
it depends on what city you're living in, and if you think
Yeah,
you've calculated and accounted for all the lifestyle expenses like rent,
yeah,
utilities, you going out with friends, having
yeah.
dinners or lunch or so, uh, I was still left with about 20% of my paycheck.
Okay,
So that was
okay,
amazing for me to understand. And
okay.
the thing is, I just it was all data, right? I
Yeah.
calculated everything, and this was and just not to forget, I was still doing my 401k investments. That is free
Mm-hmm.
money that the
Yeah,
company gives. So
yeah.
at that point of time, I was understanding that, hey, if I'm able to knock off this loan,
Mm-hmm.
I'm left with that monthly income. Let's say
Yeah,
it's $25 of the $100 paycheck or $30. That $30 can, if I compound it annually and then going to my retirement, it would be an enormous corpus.
yep,
So what people, I have a very different strategy, and I know people would have be like, you aggressively pay off your loan, but one thing people don't understand is that age is not at your hand.
yeah,
Even at the age of 25, you start paying aggressively towards your loan. It will
yeah,
still take on an 135 or 150k loan for me to pay it off in 5 years, even if I dilute 90% of my paycheck on a monthly basis. But at the age of 30, I will be left with nothing.
yeah,
So, yes, the idea is to be debt free, but the idea is not to be worthless.
yeah.
So that is what I planned. I planned of knocking off the 25k loan because that was easy. Once I was done with that in the month of January, then I focused my investment opportunities. I had a corpus trying to build up in India. Then 401k Roth IRA came in. Then I then started my brokerage account, systematically trying to invest that into it. And then
Mm-hmm.
kind of understanding, if let's say my uh, interest rate on my loan is about 8.5, 9%, I would want my investments to at least yield me a 12 to 13% of a CAGR. So
Yeah,
that at the end of the day, I'm left with 5% of the residual amount. And that
yeah,
5% will compound and it will
yeah,
take care of me when I turn 30.
yeah,
So
yeah.
people don't understand this. I mean, I have a different outlook to this because at that point
Mm-hmm.
of time, you would have different, uh, I would say, family expectations, and you would have
Yeah,
in a different way. And 30, I know it's never too late to start, but 30, you're missing out on crucial years. And
yeah,
the the one of the most important part of the formula of compounding is time.
yep.
So you would leave that, and just to put some perspective in place, I always have that ability to understand that it should not be a unidirectional investment. I always believe that you should not uh, diversify investments, you should diversify risks. So let's say I would encourage myself to like invest in gold, ETFs, brokerage accounts, uh, term and life insurances back home in India, and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, there would be not one corpus that will fund you. You would have n number of streams of passive incomes that help you, and even things go south for you, they have your back. So that is my ideology. And just understand this, even if I pay about 130, 140k of a loan by the age of 30, that amounts to 1.6 cr of a corpus. And I pay that, I'm not getting a price for it, right? No one is asking me whether I'm debt free or not. People would ask me how much money I have in my bank or my investments. So that's my mentality. And
Um, so yeah, I mean that's more of a risk-taking mentality. What I would, and a lot of audience members, what they want to do is they want to get rid of the personal pressure of being under like 100K of debt or something
yeah,
like that. Also, you were fortunate enough that you got like an 8%. People get it on 10, 12, 11,
yeah,
12%,
for sure.
which sometimes the market doesn't perform well and you're at a net negative year-to-date result. So yeah, I understand your point, but the other side to it is people want to get rid of their debt first, and then they want to build on the investment because understand the rate of interest on your debt is also compounding year by
Yeah, for
year,
sure. See,
right? So 130K right now in 7 years would be 260K,
for sure,
right?
no one is telling you
So
to wait for 10 years. I would say, certainly, if you are breaking down your paycheck, you would always have savings.
exactly, exactly.
Savings.
That was what I was coming to, that you're doing a brilliant strategy of allocating like beyond 50% of your paycheck directly to your loan. So the heavy weight of your money every month goes into loan,
Yes, for sure.
which should be the priority of
Which should
getting
be the
rid of the
priority.
debt. And then the money that you have for yourself, if you want to be rich, if you want to build wealth, if you want to use compounding to your benefit because you're 24, 25, 26, put that 5, 6, 10% of that 30% amount, because $10 today would be, $160 by the time you are 50, if you're
Yeah,
24,
I mean,
25 right now.
absolutely. I mean, I would have not have summed it better. Like,
Yeah,
if I would like calculate that, obviously, if let's say for the brokerage account, like an S&P 500 in the US, right? That ETF, even if you invest like $500 a month, judiciously for the
yeah.
next
And
27
if you
years.
if you invest 500, let's say you invest 500 through your 401k, you get additional 500.
Exactly.
So
That's
$1,000. So
that's
you get
that's the
100% return.
yes.
And then on those $1,000 invested every month, you earn a 10, 12%, however the S&P
Yeah,
500
exactly.
performs, and then you build upon that. And if you invest in Roth IRA, you build without even paying taxes because you
Exactly.
pay
And
through.
so Roth, 401k, and then the brokerage. And
Yeah,
what I was trying to say is that
yeah,
even if you are able to slip in $200, $300, I would say 500,
yeah,
to be honest. And if that
yeah.
means like cutting on a bit of luxuries in life, so be
Going
it.
out, or
Yeah,
maybe if you can go on a lunch for $30, that's just three lunches in a month that you cut out on. That's
yeah.
$100. Invest it.
So I did a simple math to this, Rohit. For Roth IRA, even if I had the numbers in place. So if I like dedicate like $6,500 a year at an 8%
Hmm.
average growth, that nearly becomes 700K by retirement. On
Yeah,
that, on the second, the 401k is obviously there. You'll be playing in millions because you have free money
yeah,
coming from the company as well. That is getting compounded as well. But magic is if you on top of that start investing on ETFs like S&P 500 like Vanguard and everything else.
yeah, yeah.
Let's say 500 monthly investment becomes like 350 or 400k hovering in the next 25 years, and that is
Yep, true.
as a base in a percentage of 6%. So
Hmm.
imagine this, you're already a millionaire. Why would you
Yeah,
like that's my mentality. Maybe that's how the risk comes in, because my risk taking ability comes from data. If my data
yeah,
talks me well, then I would take the risk.
yeah,
So even if I want to like 5 years, 6 years down the line, I compound to a 200k of a corpus, I would then do a lump sum payment of my loan, get rid of it. I still have
yep,
98, 100k
yeah.
of that. You
True.
people would have a different way of looking at that.
So I have another question. I mean, a lot of people like us who are immigrants in this country, we don't know if we'll be able to even stay for beyond 3 years in this country, let alone retiring in this country. So should we still invest in something like a Roth IRA or an IRA or a 401k, which is more, it's logged till you're 45, oh sorry, 55 years of age, and then you can withdraw money out of it without paying the 10% penalty. So what do you think about this?
Well, I do have that in back of the mind as well, Rohit. I mean,
Yeah.
that's something that your life is very unpredictable. You don't know in the next 3 years where you would lie, whether it's back home in India or anywhere in the world. But what I've realized is the fact that even if you have, I mean, for good reasons or maybe for the bad reasons, if you want to immigrate back to your home countries and stuff, even if 401k or Roth IRA, you do have the ability to withdraw them with a penalty, but that penalty
Yeah.
is just around 15 to 20%.
10%.
I'm at
10%.
10%, and with the taxes, it's about 12, 13%. But
Hmm.
my simple funda is something is better than nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I tell people as well, that 10% is penalty. Let's say you're in the income tax bracket of 22%. So effectively, like 30% of the corpus goes out. So let's say you gave 50, you got 50, that goes 100. After 3 years, it becomes like 150. And then you remove 30% of it, which goes out in penalties. So that's like $50 gone. You get back 100. How much did you invest? Just 50. So, I mean, you're getting 100% return in 3 years. That's commendable, right?
Yeah,
Even after
and
penalty, you take that money back with you.
I would
So,
certainly
yeah.
believe that. I mean, I certainly am a strong believer of, like I said, like diversifying risks and
Yeah,
like having multiple opportunities. And I do have, that is the reason why I do have some of my foothold back home in India, whether it's
yeah,
using term insurances and life insurance, because it's
yeah.
just at this point of time in age, at the age of 25, 24, when you're healthy, touch wood, I would
Mm-hmm.
hope everyone is, your premiums would be very low as compared to if you
Yeah,
start at the age of 35, when
yeah.
you are prone to more diseases or life-threatening diseases and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't understand that at that point of time you will be paying 25 times more premium monthly as compared to
Okay,
now. And
okay.
at that point of time, those health insurances and stuff like that would be a necessity for you, because you
Mm-hmm.
would not be roaming around paying medical bills, or
Yeah,
maybe if something happens to you, then what takes care of the family? Then the term insurance comes into play.
term
And you
insurance. Yeah.
have ULIPs as well, like unit linked investment plans, that your corpus also increases with the
Mm-hmm.
premium you give, so that diversifies your investments. And that is a long term allocation, and you can
Yeah,
obviously do that as an NRI sitting anywhere
yeah,
in the world. So that
yeah,
kind of has a foothold back home. And
yeah.
you are not, I would say, probably 7 to 10 years down the line, you are not scared of going back, that you don't have
Mm-hmm.
nothing, you have
Yeah,
something of substance to going
yeah,
back, and you can always have that under your belt, and that keeps your mind going in the right direction,
yeah,
that hey, I have something to bang on. So yeah, that is my
yeah,
approach to life, and that is how I deal with my finances. And
yeah.
obviously, yes, one thing that I do believe that everyone should do is track even a dollar you spent. I mean,
True.
I know people would say that you're being miser and what is this and stuff like that,
Frugal.
but
Yeah.
I mean, financial literacy, I would say at this point of time, should be paramount for everyone, because if you are
Everyone.
not
Yeah.
financially literate, you are actually like building your own, I would say, digging your own grave, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you should not be at the age of 55 saying that, hey, I should have invested 30 years back. Time will never come back.
Yeah.
What will come back is money. What will come back is maybe opportunities, but time would never come
Mm-hmm.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the conclusion of this whole conversation is, use your age right now to build corpus, even if your future in this country or wherever you are
Yeah,
is
for sure.
not fixed. Use your income to build a corpus that allows you to migrate freely, so that if you go back to India, you have something, and then invest that corpus into different risk profiles so that you don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yes.
It can be US based investments. In your case, it's India based investments as well, combined with US based investments, getting, the employer match and whatnot, investing in mutual funds. So that was it. Yeah, I mean that's crazy, and I hope people start tracking their expenses. Allocating that fixed amount for fixed expenses is really important. I'm not saying that you're not allowed to buy an extra packet of tortilla chips. You can definitely buy them, but you should have that in mind that okay, my monthly goal for groceries is 150 or $200. I should not be putting $500 into it because I'm buying random things. I'm buying bags of ice creams and whatnot just because I went to Costco.
I
So,
think one of the things which I would like leave this conversation with is, and it's a remarkable thing I read in a book written by APJ Abdul Kalam back in the day, which talks about India 2050, which kind of mentioned APJ Abdul Kalam's vision of modernizing India, and he said that the simple principle in life should be need, want, and waste. So even if you put that in finances, you can
yeah,
allocate
I mean,
what's your
these are
need.
the three silos you need for your
Silos,
monthly need,
and
want, and waste.
waste. And if
And
like,
waste, we can term waste as, your personal needs. Like
yeah, for
waste
sure.
can be,
Yeah, for
going
sure.
out, having fun, going on a trip. That's something that's disposed. Your
Yeah, disposed.
money won't come
Exactly.
back from there. And, need is your loan payments, which
Yeah.
which you have to pay. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I would keep that very crisp and sound, that it
Yeah.
should be bucketed into these things, and managing your finances comes under these three buckets and these silos as you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned. And
Yeah.
if you look at that, I would certainly believe that it life becomes much more easier. You should
Yeah.
not, I would, and one thing that I generally do is, if I look at my loan amount, the principal left, it motivates me to earn more. It
Yeah.
It is a reverse psychology I have now.
Yeah.
It is not about it scares me. It is like, okay, if it's 100k left, I should have passive income that gives me 100k a year. That should be the spirit. And
Yeah.
I would say that should be the template that I would love to see a lot of people with. And I mean, I would also hope that I become that at that zen mode
Yeah.
every time, not
Yeah.
pressurized. I would see myself 10 years like okay, fine, I'm sorted. So I know
Yeah.
I'm still
But
achieving
I
that.
mean, yeah, it's tough for international students here because you don't have a lot of passive income options
Yeah, for
here.
sure. For
You
sure.
know, if you simply invest in dividend stocks, it gets taxed at your income tax bracket, and you're earning your most in your, formative years as well. So yeah, but definitely it should motivate you, in your career, 2, 3 years down the lane, you should make job switches. You should aspire for having a 20, 30, 40, 50% increase in your salaries as well, and should not be stuck in just one place.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
mean,
it was definitely, great to have that brought up in this conversation.
my pleasure, Rohit. And yeah, I mean, something which I've learned the hard way is uh, what defines you is your identity, no matter where you are. And that
Yeah,
should
I
be
agree.
something that I do believe that you would also vouch for, that it is
Yeah.
more to do with your identity and how your values are in life rather than anything
hmm
else. And
hmm
that's what makes you unique. That what shapes you well.
hmm
And going forward, that is how I would certainly believe I would take my life forward. That it's more towards values and identities and perspectives. And obviously,
hmm
hearing from people like you, I've been following you, have been amazing in terms of giving your thoughts and your experiences. That really helps shape other experiences as well. And
Yeah.
it is always helpful for people to learn from your mistakes and things you've done wrong.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I always think that if you're the only one going through that, it becomes tough. But you have n number of people going through the same thing, then it should give you that
Gets easier.
that, yeah. I mean, it
Yeah,
really helps you to be
the whole
motivated to
population is suffering.
is suffering. So you should always
Yeah,
take the back seat, take a chill pill, and be like, okay,
yeah,
I'm not doing something wrong.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a great note to end this conversation at. And yeah, thank you so much, Adhar. If there's one question you'd want to ask the next guest that comes to this podcast about, international students, something that you're facing as a hurdle right now, what would that question be? And that question goes to the next guest.
uh, well, I mean, one question I would like the other guys to answer is about how do you marry consistency with curiosity? Because
Okay.
right now, and I thought about this question before coming in. Why is because of the fact that at this point of time, the world we are living in and where it's heading, I am a strong
hmm
believer that uh, consistency is the key to success.
hmm
But having that consistency in things you're not thinking of out of the box would
Yeah.
not help you survive in the world.
Yeah.
So, and
So
that
that's
goes,
where curiosity comes in.
yes, that's where
Yeah.
curiosity comes in. And I think I tackle that in my office, in my teams, when I'm working
hmm
with that. How do you think out of the box? What is the part
Yeah.
that brings in the innovation? But
Yeah.
you are constantly working towards creating that innovation.
Consistently thinking
Yes.
out of the
Yeah,
box.
yes,
Yeah.
consistently thinking out of the box. And
Yeah.
that is one question I would like the next guest to answer. And that is
Yeah.
something I have a very limited exposure to. I have not heard people talk about it more. But
hmm
yeah, that is something that really helps. Like, if I have to start my journey back
hmm
in 2022, if I got the answer for that, I would have been working more towards out of the box and keeping my
Yeah.
discipline in place rather than working for something I already knew. So that is something I wanted the other guest to answer.
All right. Perfect. Sounds great. You'll hear the answer to this question in the next podcast. Thank you so much for joining, Adar. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Rohit.
Bye.
Bye.